Hey there, it is JRSD here, and I am here for a quick video. Just gonna go over some transactions that I made here in week 4, getting ready for week 5. So yeah, so of course this is my team here. Let's see, we're 4-0, and you can see that 2 Pokemon are missing. So originally, out of tier 3 in the last pick of the draft, I was kind of like, just kind of, yeah, like, I didn't have an idea of what I wanted to do for that last pick, and that last pick ended up being Hatterene. Of course, Psychic Fairy, uh, great Trick Room user, but super slow, super powerful, but of course, super slow. Um, and that ended up being my offensive Psychic type for the draft. And it also gave me a duplicate typing in Electric as well. So, um, or no, not Electric, Fairy, excuse me, with Tapu Koko. So yeah, so that was my original last pick. I had also picked up Garbodor to be my uh, kind of hazard or Toxic Spike user and Toxic Spike absorber out of tier 4. Um, and so I had brought Hatterene to 2 games out of the 4 after week 4, and it had died twice and done nothing, really. It stopped a Rabombi from sweeping me in week 1 as a sack, kind of. And then in week 2, uh, it set up on a Quagsire, but it didn't really do anything. It didn't even kill the Quagsire. So yeah, so it was kind of underwhelming, and I didn't like how slow it was. I was kind of, I'm in a decent spot for slower, powerful mons. I have Tangrowth, I have Bronzong, and I have Garchomp, who already kind of fill that role, and Spiritomb even. Um, they kind of fill that role. So I wanted to change it up, and I also hadn't brought Garbodor to any of the 4 weeks, so I wanted to change that up as well. And as you can see here, if we go to the FA and trades, my friend Zex, the coach of the Toronto Raptors, he was making some changes to his roster. He was pretty disappointed with his roster, and he was dropping a bunch of mons. So one of the mons that he was dropping was actually Skuntank. And Skuntank, of course, Poison Dark, gets Defog, is faster than Garbodor, is more offensive than Garbodor, and still has Aftermath, which is a cool ability, and it gets more coverage than Garbodor. The only thing that it doesn't share, as well as absorbing Toxic Spikes, would be the fact that it doesn't get Toxic Spikes or Spikes for itself, but it does get Defog. Um, uh, so yeah, I still keep the offensive Poison typing, and it also gives me a second Dark type along with Spiritomb, which I feel like I had been relying on quite a bit to face up against Psychic types, and eventually that method will not be very good because I've a lot of psychic types, excuse me, get fairy type coverage, and that kind of makes Spiritomb not the best versus them. And it's also not a Shadow Ball or a Ghost resist because it is a Ghost as well, so it's neutral to Ghost um, as well, which Psychic types have lots of them have Ghost coverage. So yeah, so Skuntank kind of filled that role for me, while keeping a grounded Poison, adding a Defogger, and adding a true Ghost resist and a true, well, not a Fairy resist. It's obviously neutral to Fairy, but it's not weak to Fairy. It's a Dark type, not weak to Fairy, and it only has 1 weakness in Ground. So that's pretty cool. I now have 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3 Pokemon actually, And Bronzong if I'm heat proof. No. Bronzong if I'm... No, Bronzong doesn't work. Never mind. Yeah, so now I have 3 Pokemon. Miltank, Stuntank, whoa, tanks, and Spiritomb that all just have one weakness. Spiritomb's being Fairy, Skuntank's being Ground, and Miltank's being Fighting. So that was the first trade, and it didn't cost me a trade with free agency, so I still have 4 left, as I did use 1, and that was trading Hatterene for Azelf. So Azelf, if we just go into the team builder real quick, Azelf is fast. It's 115, which I didn't have a speed tier between Hawlucha at 118 and Garchomp regularly, like regular form Garchomp at 102, or when he's Mega at 92. Well, I had Miltank, but it's base 100, but doesn't really count. So now I have 84 for Skuntank, which is below Rotom, but above Articuno, above Blaziken, and above basically the rest of my team. And then Azelf now gives me 1 below Hawlucha, but above Garchomp. So the speed tiers are kind of better there. You see 125 in each special attack and physical attack. Decent defenses and HP at 70s and 75. Not the frailest thing in the world, but obviously not bulky. Obviously, this thing gets so many moves. It gets a lot of different stuff. So it gets Stealth Rocks, it gets Taunt, it gets Trick, it gets U-Turn, it gets Nasty Plot, it gets Knockoff, and it gets Explosion and Calm Mind and stuff like that. So, and I think it gets... I don't know if it got Aura Sphere in the DLC, but it gives me an excellent Scarfer, a good lead Mon with Taunt and Stealth Rocks and stuff like that. Yeah. So Azelf for Hatterene, that was a free agency move that cost me one of my 5 free agency moves that I can use throughout the season. And then Skuntank for Garbodor. Garbodor goes over to the Toronto Staraptors, who we face in a couple week 10. Yeah, so I'll just quickly go over the we'll just look at the leaderboard real quick. You can see Tapu Koko tied there at the top with Landorus Incarnate, Mega Blastoise, Corviknight, Lycanroc Dusk, and Galarian Darmanitan, who we're facing this week with Will. Then you got Mega Garchomp and Hawlucha both at 5. They're tied for 3rd, I guess, technically. And then, so yeah, Mons are doing pretty well. Obviously, we're still in 1st here at 4-0. Woodsy can tie us with a 6-0, I guess, when he plays his week 4 match. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say. Yeah, so Azelf instead of Hatterene, and Spiritomb instead of Garbodor. And yeah, I will see you soon with the week 5 match, which should be going up in the next couple of days. Hasn't happened yet, but it should be pretty soon here. Yeah, so thank you so much for watching. Click like and subscribe if you like this video. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.